All right, everyone, welcome back. We're diving deep into Oracle CPQ today.
Yeah, always exciting.
Configuring, pricing, and quoting for anyone who's new to the scene.
Right, right.
You know, a lot of you are probably already familiar with how powerful CPQ can be, especially when you're dealing with complex products and services.
It's a game changer.
But today, we're going beyond the basics, folks.
Behind the scenes.
We've got this document here, chock full of insider tips and considerations straight from experienced users.
Yeah, sort of a cheat sheet, you know.
Exactly, a cheat sheet to help you avoid those gotchas, those little things that can really trip you up.
And make your life a lot easier.
Exactly.
And help you get the most out of CPQ.
Yeah, so we're going to be focusing specifically on document designer, email designer, and migrations.
The big three.
Yeah, so let's jump right in with Document Designer, the tool that helps you create those polished professional documents for your quotes and proposals.
Got to make them look good, right?
Absolutely.
Now, one of the most important things to remember here, and this is something that trips a lot of people up, is the power of deployment.
Oh, deployment.
Before you get all excited about using those new attributes you've created in Document Designer,
Right.
you absolutely have to deploy your commerce processes and configurations.
Okay.
Think of it like activating those changes.
Right.
You know how when you're working on a complex document and you want to make sure all your edits are saved? Deployment is like that save button for Oracle CPQ.
Okay.
Without it, the system doesn't recognize those new attributes.
It's like you're working behind the scenes.
Exactly. You're making changes, but they're not going live until you hit that deploy button.
Okay, I see.
And here's a concrete example.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Let's say you've created a new attribute, right,
Mm-hmm.
for custom discount, and you want to use it in a condition or loop filter in your document template.
Okay.
If you don't deploy commerce after creating that attribute,
Yeah.
your document won't reflect it, even if you deploy the template itself.
So it's like you're missing that crucial step.
Right, you're skipping a beat in the dance.
I like that analogy.
So deployment, deployment, deployment.
Got it. It's like baking a cake. You wouldn't try to frost it before it's baked.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You need that solid foundation in place.
All right, now for another potential hiccup, while we're on the topic.
Oh, there are always a few of those.
When you're previewing your document as a DOC or RTF file,
Right.
you might notice that the page numbers, those little page 1 of 10 things,
Oh, yeah.
sometimes show up as 0.
Zero.
0.
That's a head scratcher.
It can be a bit alarming,
Definitely.
but don't worry.
Okay.
The correct values will appear on the final printed output.
Okay, so it's just a preview quirk.
Yeah, think of it like a rough draft that hasn't been finalized yet.
Makes sense.
So if you need to see the accurate page count, just open that DOC or RTF file in edit mode and give it a refresh.
Like hitting the F5 key.
Right. Exactly. That'll force the system to recalculate those page numbers.
Got it.
Now, speaking of formatting, Oracle CPQ has some strong opinions, let's say, about numbered and bulleted lists.
Oh, yeah. It's a bit particular.
When you're using those text elements, any text that includes numbered or bulleted lists can only be left aligned.
Stubbornly left aligned.
You can try to center or right align them, but the software just won't budge.
Nope. It's got its own ideas.
So if you're going for that perfectly symmetrical look, you might need to get a bit creative.
Think outside the box.
Maybe use tables or other elements to achieve that desired alignment.
Right. Workarounds are your friend.
All right, let's shift gears a bit and talk about languages.
Okay. Going global.
Oracle CPQ lets you create documents in different languages, to cater to a global audience.
Globalization is key these days.
But there are a few quirks when it comes to those heading styles.
Yes. Those can be tricky.
Even the default heading style names, they're considered user-generated content, which means they won't be automatically translated.
So they're stuck in whatever language they were created in.
Exactly, based on the language the site's super user had set as their preference when those styles were first created.
That makes sense.
Now, when you're choosing languages for your documents, you might be wondering where those options come from.
It's a bit of a mystery, isn't it?
Those language options in the drop-down menu are actually pulled from the list of supported languages on the host company admin page.
Okay.
And that list, in turn, comes from the site's supported languages, which are set in Oracle CPQ ops.
So it's all connected.
It's a chain reaction.
Right.
So if you add or remove a language from the site's supported list, you need to make sure that the host company admin page is updated too.
You got to keep things in sync.
And while we're on the topic of languages, there's an important point about removing language support.
Okay, this sounds serious.
If you remove support for a language from that host company admin page, any document designer templates using that language will lose their content in that language.
Oh, wow. So it's like they just disappear.
And things might start behaving unexpectedly.
Yikes. That's not good.
And it gets even trickier with multi-language templates.
Oh, how so?
If you remove support for the default language of one of those templates, you might run into errors when users try to print it.
So the whole thing can break.
So before you remove a language, make sure to remove any translations and templates using that language first.
Better safe than sorry.
Absolutely.
Okay, duly noted.
Now, a fun fact, did you know that background images are supported for DOCX and RTF outputs?
Oh, really?
But there's a catch. This only applies from release 2017 R1 onwards.
Ah, so if you're on an older version, no fancy backgrounds.
Speaking of limitations, there's another one about template width.
Okay.
If you create a template that's wider than 23 inches, you won't be able to view it in DOCX format.
It's like it's too big to handle.
Microsoft Word will open, but the document itself won't load.
Interesting.
So if you're working with those wider templates, stick to other formats for best results.
Good advice.
Now, for our Firefox users,
Uh-oh, what did Firefox do now?
you might experience some font substitution issues when printing a PDF from the document designer preview.
Oh, that's annoying.
But there's an easy fix.
Tell me.
Just download the PDF and print it using Adobe Reader.
Ah, the good old Adobe Reader.
And finally, one last tip for Document Designer, and it's one we've touched on before.
I'm all ears.
When migrating those large Document Designer templates, treat them like VIPs, migrate them individually.
One at a time. Got it.
All right, let's move on to Email Designer.
Sounds good.
Now, remember that crucial point about deployment we discussed earlier.
Deployment is key.
It's back for round 2.
Round 2, here we go.
Before you start using those new attributes in your email templates, remember to deploy commerce first.
Otherwise, we'll be back to those conditions and loops not working.
Exactly. Avoid those headaches.
Speaking of things that have changed,
Okay.
email designer templates have said goodbye to variable names.
No more trying to decipher those cryptic codes.
Exactly. Much simpler now.
What makes an email designer template unique?
It's a combination of its name
Okay.
and its language settings.
Makes sense.
No two templates can have the same name and language settings.
Got it.
So imagine you have a single language template and a multi-language template with the same name.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
If the approver's language preference matches the default language of the single language template, that's the one that will be used.
This system is trying to be helpful.
It's trying to do its best.
Now brace yourselves, because we're about to revisit that alignment issue.
Oh no, not again.
Just like in Document Designer, any numbered or bulleted text in your email templates is going to be stubbornly left aligned.
Left alignment for life.
No amount of persuasion will change its mind.
It's set in its ways.
On a slightly more technical note, let's touch on XML translation line limits.
Sounds intriguing.
These limits are in place to prevent performance issues when you're dealing with quotes that have a massive number of transaction lines.
Okay.
Imagine you have a quote with thousands of line items.
Wow, that's a lot.
These limits prevent the system from crashing while trying to process all that data.
So it's a safety net.
Exactly. It's there to protect you.
Makes sense.
All right, are you ready for the final frontier?
Hit me with it.
Migrations.
Bring it on.
First things first, when you're using those import from source or connect to destination options to move your content, both your source and target sites need to be using the same major update version.
Compatibility is key.
It's like making sure everyone is speaking the same language.
Right.
To clarify, a major update is like a new edition of a book.
Okay.
Going from the 2nd edition to the 3rd edition.
Got it.
A minor update is like a printing revision within the same edition, fixing small errors.
So you can migrate across minor updates, but not major updates.
Exactly.
But with migration packages, you have more flexibility.
Oh, how so?
You can upload content from version 19A onwards to the latest site version.
That's handy.
It's like a universal translator for your Oracle CPQ content.
I like that.
Now, a little reminder.
Okay.
Only deployed data can be migrated.
It's like the migration center is a bouncer, only letting in the stuff that's ready to go.
Exactly. No sneaking in.
And here's a bonus.
I love bonuses.
On the target site, those migrated components are automatically deployed for you.
No need to do it manually.
So, for example, if you migrate a commerce process,
Right.
it's all set and ready to go on the target site.
That's efficient.
And while we're talking about configuration migrations,
Okay.
here's a helpful tip. Deploy all your product families before you start moving those configuration items.
Why is that important?
It helps to ensure that all product family items are implemented consistently
Yes, I see.
and prevents what we call orphan issues during
Yeah,
migration,
it
where
worked.
things get lost or disconnected.
Oh, we don't want that.
Now, before you go migrating those commerce processes,
Okay.
there's a little setting you need to enable.
Okay, tell me more.
On the commerce settings page,
Mm.
make sure that allow commerce processes to be cloned and migrated is set to yes.
Considered a permission slip for those commerce processes.
And remember those large document designer templates?
Oh, yeah, the VIPs.
Migrate them one at a time.
Got it.
All right, let's lay down some ground rules for migrations.
Okay, I'm ready.
First, you can't start a migration if a rollback is in progress or if a snapshot is being applied.
One thing at a time.
Exactly.
No multitasking.
And only one migration can happen at a time.
Got it.
Also, you can't import or download packages while a migration, rollback, or snapshot application is running.
It's like the system needs to focus.
No distractions allowed.
Now, what about data columns?
You can delete data columns during a migration.
Interesting.
And deleting a data column this way has the same effect on transaction manager views and reports on the target site as if you had deleted it during a rollback.
So it's consistent.
Now let's talk about components that might have been created manually on both the source and target sites.
Okay.
Even if they have the same variable name,
Right.
they're not considered the same for migration purposes.
Oh, that's tricky.
If you try to migrate in that scenario, you'll likely get an error message.
So what's the solution?
Delete the manually created component on the target site before you start the migration.
Okay, clean slate.
What about elements that aren't in the migration center, like accounts, commerce transactions, and parts?
Can those be migrated too?
They can be moved using bulk upload download.
So there's a way.
Now let's talk about dependencies.
This is important, right?
In the world of Oracle CPQ, everything is connected.
It's like a delicate ecosystem.
If you move one thing without considering its dependencies, you could disrupt the whole balance.
Got it.
For example, those util libraries, they need to be migrated before or with a configuration or commerce migration.
Okay, so order matters.
And then you have data tables.
Right.
They need to be moved before anything else.
Foundation first.
When it comes to product definitions and catalog data, migrate the product definitions first, then the catalog data, and finally the configuration data.
It's a sequence.
And if you've got a new commerce process, migrate that before any documents that depend on it.
Dependencies.
When you're selecting items for migration, pay attention to the dependencies dialog box.
Okay.
It'll list the util libraries they referenced.
I'll keep an eye out for that.
And even if you've already selected a util library in the main window, you'll need to select it again in the dialog box.
Double checking.
Now, let's talk about commerce UI layouts.
All right.
If you're migrating one that relies on other elements, like formulas or steps, make sure those elements are selected or migrated before you move the layout.
So it's like packing your bags before you go on a trip.
Exactly.
Make sure you have everything you need.
During the migration, the entire layout on the target site is replaced with the one from the source site or package.
Okay.
So if you're missing a dependent element, like a table, you'll see an error in the migration log.
The system will let you know.
Now let's talk about rollbacks and snapshots.
Those are lifesavers.
They let you revert to a previous state if something goes wrong.
Like a time machine.
But when you upgrade to a major release, all that rollback data and those snapshots are permanently deleted.
So it's a clean slate.
Don't worry, your transaction data is safe.
Shoo, that's good to know.
Commerce steps aren't impacted by rollbacks or snapshots either.
Okay.
And only users with migration permissions can perform rollbacks and apply snapshots.
It's a controlled process.
If you choose to take a snapshot during a migration and the migration fails, that snapshot will still be created.
So it's like a backup plan.
You can't delete migration records from the migration logs if the undo or revert to snapshot options are still available.
The system is holding on to that history.
The system can only store data for up to 20 rollbacks.
Okay.
And for snapshots, you only get to keep 10.
So there are limits.
Now, for some best practices,
I'm all ears.
designate one full access user to be your migration champion.
Makes sense.
This helps centralize communication. And if a migration fails, that designated admin will receive an email with a log explaining what went wrong.
So you're not left in the dark.
And establish a clear migration process.
Like a roadmap.
Decide on a direction and stick to it.
Consistency is key.
You can also set things up so that the URL of your source site is automatically populated when you connect from the target site.
That's convenient.
To set that up, open a ticket with my Oracle support.
They're the experts.
Okay, I think we've covered the bulk of migrations.
It's a lot to take in.
But we're not done yet.
There's more.
Stay tuned for part 2 of our deep dive into Oracle CPQ.
Can't wait.
We'll explore more tips, considerations, and best practices.
Sounds great. Welcome back to our deep dive, into that world of Oracle CPQ.
It feels like we've already unearthed so much, especially those migrations. Oh my goodness.
We have, yeah, but there's still plenty more to uncover.
Bring it on.
Let's shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
And talk about, the human side of Oracle CPQ.
Ooh, I like that.
The human element.
I'm intrigued. I always love seeing where technology and human behavior intersect.
It's fascinating. And one of the biggest, biggest factors in a successful Oracle CPQ implementation is training.
Training, right, because you can't just pick this up and, figure it out on your own, can you?
Some users might be able to, kind of fumble their way through and figure things out through trial and error, but structured training is crucial for making sure everybody understands the system and can use it effectively.
So what are some key areas that training should focus on?
Well, it really depends on the specific roles and responsibilities of your users.
Right.
But some core areas to cover would be product configuration, pricing, quoting, order management, and reporting and analytics.
So it's not just about, clicking the buttons. It's about understanding how to use this to make good decisions.
Exactly.
And drive those sales.
Drive those sales, make those informed decisions.
I like it.
And beyond the, kind of hard technical aspects, don't overlook those soft skills.
Ooh, soft skills. Tell me more.
Communication is key.
Oh, absolutely.
Making sure everybody involved in the sales process understands their roles and responsibilities, that there's open communication between, the sales team, the product team, the engineering team.
Breaking down those silos.
Fostering collaboration.
Love it.
And, don't underestimate strong problem-solving skills.
Oh, yeah.
When things go wrong, as they inevitably will. You need a team that can think critically and find those creative solutions.
Right, because sometimes it's not just about following a script.
Exactly.
It's about adapting, thinking on your feet.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about user adoption.
Ooh, user adoption, because you can have the best implementation in the world.
You can.
But if people aren't using it,
it's pointless.
It's a very fancy paperweight at that point.
Exactly. So, how do you get people excited about using a new tool, especially one as complex as Oracle CPQ?
Right. It can be a bit daunting.
The first step is making sure the tool actually meets their needs.
Oh, that's a good point.
If it's clunky, difficult to use, doesn't fit into their workflow, they're not going to embrace it.
Right.
So involve your users early in the implementation process.
Oh, I like that.
Get their feedback, make sure the system is designed with their needs in mind.
It's about making it user-friendly.
User-friendly, intuitive.
Intuitive, yeah.
And don't forget about positive reinforcement.
Ooh, positive reinforcement. We love that.
Recognize and reward those who are using the tool effectively. Create a culture where people are excited to share their success stories and best practices.
It's like building a community.
Exactly. Building a community of CPQ champions.
Now, continuous improvement, the world of sales is constantly evolving.
It is.
So we need to make sure our CPQ implementation is evolving too, right?
Absolutely. It's not a set it and forget it kind of thing.
We're constantly iterating.
You got to constantly evaluate, get feedback from your users, track key metrics, and make adjustments as needed.
And don't be afraid to experiment.
Exactly. Try new things, see what works.
It's all about staying agile.
Agile, adaptable.
Adaptable, yeah. Okay, before we move on, anything else on that continuous improvement front?
Oh, one last tip.
Okay.
Make sure you have a strong support system in place.
Support is so important.
It is, because even with the best training, even with the most intuitive system, people are going to have questions.
Yeah.
They're going to run into problems.
It's inevitable.
It is. So whether it's an internal help desk, a dedicated Oracle CPQ support team, your users need to know that they have someone to turn to when they need help.
That safety net, that support.
Exactly. And that can make all the difference in user satisfaction and adoption.
Okay, we've covered so much from those technical things to user training and support.
Is it a journey?
It has, and I feel like I have a much better understanding of what makes a CPQ implementation successful.
But our journey's not over yet.
Ooh, there's more.
There's one more part to this deep dive.
I can't wait.
We'll explore some advanced concepts, some best practices.
Sounds great. Welcome back for the final part of our Oracle CPQ deep dive.
We've covered so much ground already.
We have, from document designer quirks to the importance of user training.
And all those migrations.
Oh, all those migrations. But we've saved some of the most intriguing topics for last, haven't we?
We have.
Okay, so what hidden gems are we uncovering today?
Well, let's revisit those single language and multi-language templates.
Ah, yes, those scenarios where you might have templates with the same name but in different languages.
Exactly. And remember how we talked about the system prioritizing the single language template if the approver's language preference matches?
Yes, it's like the system is trying to be as helpful as possible by choosing the most relevant template.
Precisely. It's all about creating a seamless and personalized experience for the user.
Now, I can't believe we've made it this far without discussing one of the most fundamental aspects of CPQ, pricing.
Price.
It's the heart and soul of the CPQ world, and it's where you can really unlock efficiency and profitability for your business.
Absolutely.
So let's talk strategy. What are some pricing best practices that every Oracle CPQ user should know?
Well, the first and most important step is to establish a clear pricing strategy.
So before you even touch the system, you need to define your goals and objectives.
Exactly. What are you trying to achieve with your pricing? Are you focused on maximizing revenue, gaining market share, or something else entirely?
Right, gotta have that North Star.
Once you have that clear strategy in place, you can start leveraging the power of Oracle CPQ's pricing engine.
That sounds powerful. What can this pricing engine do?
Oh, it can handle even the most complex pricing models you can dream up, from tiered pricing and volume discounts to subscriptions and usage-based pricing.
So it's like having a Swiss Army knife for all your pricing needs.
And one of the best things about Oracle CPQ is that it lets you experiment with different pricing scenarios.
So you can play around with different variables and see how they impact your bottom line.
Exactly. It's like having a pricing laboratory right at your fingertips.
I love that, a pricing laboratory.
But speaking of labs, let's not forget about the importance of thorough testing, especially when it comes to pricing.
I have a feeling this is where a lot of people trip up.
You're right. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of building out your CPQ solution and overlook the importance of testing. But trust me, it's worth the effort to make sure everything is working as expected.
So what are some key areas to focus on during testing?
First and foremost, make sure your pricing rules are working correctly.
That makes sense. You want to ensure those prices are being calculated accurately.
Test different scenarios like different product combinations, quantities, and customer segments.
So you're covering all your bases and anticipating any potential issues.
And don't forget about those edge cases.
Edge cases, what are those?
Those are the scenarios that are less common but can really cause problems if they're not handled correctly. For example, what happens if a customer orders a huge quantity of a product?
Oh.
Or what if they're located in a region with specific pricing regulations?
So it's about thinking outside the box and anticipating those unusual situations.
Exactly. Now, we've talked about pricing, but what about those all-important quotes? Any tips for creating quotes that are both accurate and compelling?
Ooh, yes. After all, the quote is often the first impression a customer has of your business.
Absolutely. The first rule of thumb is to make sure your quotes are easy to read and understand.
So avoid jargon, use clear language, and present the information in a logical way.
Exactly. And don't forget about the power of personalization. Use Oracle CPQ to tailor your quotes to the specific needs of each customer.
So it's not just a generic one-size-fits-all document.
Right. Include relevant product recommendations, highlight key benefits, and use language that resonates with their industry or business challenges.
So it feels like it was created just for them.
Now let's talk about approvals. Oracle CPQ has a robust approval workflow engine that can automate the entire process, from routing quotes to the right approvers to tracking their status and ensuring compliance.
It's like having a digital assistant for all your, quote, approvals.
And this can save you a ton of time and headaches, especially if you're dealing with complex approval hierarchies.
I'm sensing a theme here. Oracle CPQ seems to be all about automation and streamlining processes.
You're catching on. That's one of the key benefits of using a CPQ solution. It automates those manual, error-prone tasks, freeing up your team to focus on more strategic work.
Okay, we've covered so much today, from pricing and quoting to approvals and automation. Any final words of wisdom before we wrap up our deep dive?
Just remember that Oracle CPQ is a powerful tool, but it's just a tool. The real magic happens when you combine it with a solid strategy, a deep understanding of your customers, and a commitment to continuous improvement.
Well said. I think we've given our listeners a lot to chew on today. Hopefully, they're feeling inspired to take their Oracle CPQ skills to the next level. And remember, the journey of CPQ mastery never truly ends. There's always something new to learn, something new to explore, so keep experimenting, keep innovating, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
That's a fantastic note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this epic deep dive into the world of Oracle CPQ. We'll catch you next time for another adventure in the realm of knowledge and insights.